In today's video I want to show you the different types of microorganisms and bugs that we can find in our aquariums. I'm also going to tell you if they are dangerous or not and how to eliminate them. Let's start with the flatworms, okay? As their name suggests, their body is flat and their head is circular or triangular in shape. They usually grow up to 1 centimeter, although there have been cases of them being a little larger. They are usually found in most aquariums, okay? They are part of the microfauna that we cannot see or that we do not usually see. The problem is when the organic material in the aquarium increases. Then the flatworms reproduce, form a plague, and that is when we can observe their presence in the aquarium or we can see more than usual. These worms feed on small organisms, so they do not pose any danger to fish, but it is true that cases of attacks on shrimp have been reported, so you have to be careful with these worms in shrimp tanks, okay? Okay, now that you know what flatworms are, how to eliminate them, we have 3 methods, okay? The first is that fish normally eat them, so if we have fish we should not have any problems with an attack or infestation of flatworms. Specifically, it is said that gouramis are natural predators of these worms. The second method would be to improve the cleaning of the aquarium, siphoning the substrate very well so that organic waste does not accumulate and, above all, reduce the amount of food the fish need or make sure that no food is left in the substrate for more than a few minutes, for example, since this food will be used by the flatworms. And finally, number 3 would be with specific products, okay? There are specific products to eliminate flatworms, but you have to be careful with fish and especially with shrimp or snails, since these products usually affect our invertebrates too. The second microorganism or bug is copepods, also called cyclops, okay? Copepods are small crustaceans that are completely harmless to our fish and shrimp. They usually measure between 1 and 5 millimeters, and are an excellent live food for fish, so it is usually difficult to see them in aquariums. They usually appear in shrimp tanks, since shrimp do not eat them. It is often said that if they appear it is a sign that the aquarium is doing well. Even so, how do you eliminate them? As I said, they are an excellent live food. In fact, they are farmed and sold as such, so if you have fish, don't worry, they will disappear soon. In the case of shrimp tanks, since there are no predators, they reproduce. As I said, they are harmless, but if they bother you or reproduce too much, you can put some small fish in there for them to eat. Of course, keep an eye on the shrimp, especially the young ones, as the fish can also eat them. Daphnia. Daphnia are also known as water fleas because of their curious way of moving, like jumping. They usually measure between 1 and 5 millimeters and, like copepods, water fleas are usually cultivated and used as live food for fish. They are completely harmless and feed on algae and plankton. How do you get rid of them? As I said, the fish eat them, so if you see them in the aquarium, don't worry, there will be practically none left in a few hours. In the case of shrimp tanks, as in the previous one, you put some small fish in there and they will disappear completely in a few days. Ostracods, the next microorganism, are bugs that measure between 1 and 0.2 millimeters and are small crustaceans shaped like little balls. They look a lot like small seeds, very small, and there are thousands, hundreds of different species. They eat all kinds of things. There are filter feeders, scavengers, retiboros, herbivores, in short, everything. And they can usually be seen on the surface of the aquarium, as well as in the substrate and decorations. It is said that if you see ostracods in the aquarium it is a sign that the aquarium is fine. It is a clean aquarium, especially the water is clean. How do you get rid of them? Just like with copepods, ostracods are a living element for the fish that they will surely enjoy. In the case of shrimp tanks, don't worry, ostracods are harmless. Of course, if the population starts to increase and they bother you, you can put some small fish in there for them to eat. And as always, keep an eye on the young, as they can also be easy prey for fish. The next bug, nematodes, okay? They are a type of white worm, between 0.1 and 0.3 centimeters in size. Okay, nematodes are small white worms, very thin or fine, even almost transparent. They are usually found on the substrate feeding on food remains. Sometimes you can see them swimming, so to speak, around the aquarium moving in an S shape. It is very interesting to see them. They are normally found in most aquariums and, in fact, it does not take long for them to become part of the microfauna. They do not cause any danger, so there is no need to be afraid of this type of worm. Even so, if you want to eliminate them, there are two ways. The first is with fish. Normally the fish eat them as soon as they see them, okay? And the second is by improving the cleanliness of the aquarium. Siphon the substrate very well so that no organic waste remains or accumulates and, above all, reduce the amount of food the fish eat and make sure that no food remains in the substrate or among the decorations after a few minutes. The next one is a species called Acroloxus leucostris, more or less, okay? They are usually very, very small, between 0.1 and 0.3 millimeters, although you may see them a little bigger. Well, they are a type of limpet, okay? They are very small, they move very slowly and their shape is that they have an oval and translucent shell and there can be different species, as I say, okay? They feed on algae that they scrape off surfaces such as rocks and especially the glass of the aquarium. And they are indicators that the aquarium is very well oxygenated and has good water quality. These bugs are completely harmless and will not harm the fish. How do you get rid of them? Well, since they are so small, it is very difficult to remove them manually and the fish do not eat them. These bugs eat algae, so they shouldn't be a problem in the aquarium. If you still want to eliminate them, you can definitely get rid of them with a copper-based solution. Of course, keep an eye on the invertebrates, since copper also affects them a lot. The next bug or microorganism is the hydra, okay? Hydras look like tiny freshwater corals. They usually measure between 0.3 and even 1.5 centimeters and spend their entire lives attached to all types of aquarium surfaces, plants, glass, all types of decoration. When they become infestations, they are quite visually annoying, to be honest. They make a very ugly impression on any aquarium. If they are disturbed, they retract their tentacles and body to protect themselves. Then, after a few minutes, they will come out again. These bugs are predators and catch all types of microfauna, such as copepods and daphnia. It is even said that they can catch baby shrimp. They do all this with their tentacles, right? In fact, they say they can even sting. Of course, newborn fish and baby shrimp can be endangered. How can they be eliminated? Okay, they usually come with plants and their elimination is more complicated than the rest of the microorganisms we have seen. We have three options. The easiest is to introduce the Kalisa fish, since these fish are natural predators of the hydras. In a few days they will finish off the entire plague. The second option is with medication. In this case, there is a medication called Lomper, which can be found in pharmacies. Of course, be careful with shrimp and snails, since Lomper also affects them a lot. Number 3, they should never be removed with a magnet, with a card or manually, because they reproduce in parts or something like that, okay? What it says is that where there was one before, if it breaks, 10 will emerge, which will increase the plague. Mosquito larvae. Yes, we can find mosquito larvae in aquariums, usually where there are no fish, especially in shrimp tanks, okay? Shrimp do not eat the larvae. They are completely harmless to the aquarium until they reach the mosquito stage, at which point the problem passes directly to us, as they can bite us. How do you get rid of them? Very simple, they are an excellent live food for any fish, so if we introduce fish it will be enough. The next bug is freshwater mites. These bugs usually measure up to 4 millimeters. They have a round body with legs. They are very similar to a spider and they especially like mosses where they feed and compete with shrimp, for example. How do you get rid of them? Very simple, as always. Normally the fish eat them, so they would be quite easy to get rid of. In the case of shrimp tanks, as always, by putting some type of very small fish for them to eat. Last but not least, and in fact the most dangerous of all the bugs we're going to look at, are dragonfly larvae, nymphs or damselflies. Okay, they're several centimeters in size, they're quite large and can be seen with the naked eye. It's unusual, but they can appear in aquariums. They usually come through plants or natural elements such as rocks and logs that we've collected ourselves, so it's very important to disinfect them, okay? These bugs are predators, very good predators, so shrimp and even adult fish can be attacked and eaten. How can they be eliminated? The best option is prevention. Before introducing plants or any natural decorative element, They must be disinfected, okay? Especially plants. I've come across many cases of these bugs with plants. The next step would be manually, okay? Since they're large bugs, you can try to remove them with a net or even by siphoning. Okay, so these are the bugs or microorganisms that we can find in the aquarium. There are probably more, but these are the most common ones. I hope this video has helped you identify these bugs, know what they are, and how to eliminate them. If so, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and share this video with your friends so that they can also identify these bugs. See you in the next video.